Welcome to another Lightning Strikes Twice, where we each have one topic to give to the other person. They are completely hit unawares with what we're going to talk about. We have 5 minutes apiece and go.
Okie dokie. My category, I guess, is politics. Um, I've been talking to a bunch of people about this lately, and everybody kind of feels has this same sort of sneaking, creeping suspicion. Is World War III right around the corner?
I was just thinking that actually. Um, and once again, I was thinking of a kind of similar topic, although like in a total other direction. Uh, but we'll get to that in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like I feel like with all the stuff brewing in the Middle East and then in in the Baltic region, let's say,
Eastern
and
Europe and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and uh like
Well,
just depending on how the politics like the elections play out and stuff, like I feel like there's kind of like an amassing of psychopathic leaders that probably could kind of join forces, much in the way that Germany and Japan kind of teamed up,
yeah.
and and Russia for a while.
Yeah. Well, Russia was with the US in World War II, at least.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, there's a lot of tension, and these conflicts, like these kind of fairly large scale concurrent conflicts. You know, you have Russia and Ukraine, you have Israel with Gaza, and then Iran is now in the mix. You have
mm-hmm.
North Korea sending troops over to fight for Russia. You have China versus Taiwan, like, and then there's all these other little things, which is like that's sort of the stage that was the prelude to World War One.
Right.
And my theory is that World War One didn't end and World War Two began. No, World War One took a pause and just carried on in the form of World War Two. Like it never really ended.
Yeah,
And now things are very different. It's very, very different. Like if that kicks off, like woo, all we need is a Ferdinand assassination, a modern day version of that, and well, there you go.
right.
Some kind of catalyst that gets everybody going.
Yeah, yeah, I sure hope it doesn't come to that, but like you're saying, you've got your Kim Jong Un hiding in the shadows. He's been kind of quiet for a while, and then China's like, they were doing their threats with Taiwan and stuff a while back. I haven't heard much buzz about that because of all the shit with the Middle East and Ukraine, and then they're talking like, I think, I don't know what Trump wants to do, but I think Harris wants to pull aid away from Ukraine, and it's like, what? Why?
Oh boy.
Like,
Yeah.
there are no good presidential options as usual. Um,
Exactly. And honestly, there's a lot of kind of situations where it's like there's not really a good resolution.
mhm.
There's no easy fix to these things.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that said, though, I don't think Harris would be like the um, take over the world mustache twirling type. She can't even grow a mustache. Uh,
yeah.
but I do fear that is something similar to that with Trump, especially like with his buddy thing with Putin. Like that's not
Well, the
like a
thing
good
is,
mix.
the picture is really more complex than it appears in the headlines.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing is like I'm not even concerned that much about what the US does like internally. It's more like the current state of like the way things look right now looks really precarious.
Yeah.
Like all it's going to take is for one domino to fall and they're all going to come cascading down, and pretty soon we're flinging nukes at each other and it's going to be chaos.
Yeah.
And that's what I worry about, because it's like, oof, I don't know. I mean,
Well, and the U.S. is like the world police, or like combo of the world police and the sleeping giant, because of the whole
and,
nuke thing.
and also the one that antagonizes and creates a
Hmm.
lot of these sorts of situations that lead to where we're at now.
Right.
So yeah,
I
it's
mean, if you think about it objectively, the US is kind of the enemy of the world. Like,
in a sense, yeah. I mean, yeah, this is
I mean,
true.
it keeps it keeps economies all over the world like in their status quo, which like isn't not like optimal for anybody really.
No,
Um,
it's all about propping up the petrodollar, basically. I mean, that's what a lot
yeah.
of our involvement in world conflicts is.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, like all the Middle East shit is probably the fault of the US.
in some,
Poking the bear and
yeah, yeah, you could
like,
say we kind of like created the circumstances that led to
well,
where they ended
I
up.
saw something on the news last
Oh
night
shit. Okay, well, go ahead and
about
finish the news thing.
well, about the whole attacking Iran thing, and
Mhm.
Israel is like, we're not doing this because the US told us to. Like they did exactly what the US like recommended or something, but they were like, well, we were going to do that anyway. Like,
Oh,
okay.
yeah, nice way to weasel out of that one, huh? Jeez. Oh man. Okay, so I guess we'll
um,
get on to your topic then.
yeah. So that was a bit of a downer, but I thought I would brighten it up a little
Okay.
bit by
Oh, okay.
yeah. I just kind of pose the question. I don't know if it's philosophy or current events or what, but like you and I are about the same age our grandparents were when they landed on the moon. So what do you think our generation's moon landing will be? Like plus or minus 5 years? Has it already happened? Will it happen
Ooh.
soon?
Well, I would say that this generation's moon landing is going to be another moon landing because they have like the Artemis program, and there's a lot of I think China is planning on sending people to the moon. Like it's sort of
Yeah.
like another moon race.
Huh.
Because I mean it's easy. Like we know how to do it. Um,
It's low hanging fruit at this point, right?
it is, but I mean the thing is, I think as far as human planetary exploration goes, we kind of stopped that when after the moon, like after the
Yeah,
Apollo
yeah,
program
but
ended.
I'm not just talking about exploration though, but more like a win for all humanity moment,
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Like a positive thing, like the airplane was invented and we landed on the moon and I don't know.
There were many things throughout
Yeah,
history like that.
maybe nothing super great happened after that, but we're overdue,
Yeah. Well, there were a lot like in the US, there was like the women's lib movement and the civil rights movement and stuff, which I think
Yeah,
were ultimately they had global impact.
that's true. Yeah,
And
that's true.
so like because what we were just talking about, the US's influence across the planet is pretty
Mhm.
huge. People pay attention. And so that sort of cascaded through other countries, I think, and um, I don't know what it's going to be. That's a
Well, you
good
not want
question.
to know what I hope, what I like a potential scenario I see possibly happening, and this came to me last night watching the news,
Mm-hmm.
and there's this lady who's going to run against Putin,
Hmm.
um, and her husband was that journalist that was like killed for speaking out against Putin,
Oh yeah,
and I feel like that's exactly what that country needs is a woman president, like less testosterone and
well,
like
and they definitely
somebody who was like directly affected by the evil of the status quo there. And
well, and it would be nice to have a president that wasn't part of the KGB for most of his life.
yeah, right. And
Like
but then like I started having this chain reaction of thoughts like if that happened, not only does the war in Ukraine end, but like she could really pick Russia up kind of by the bootstraps, like fix things up, um, maybe even at some point get Russia into the EU, which would
Mhm.
be huge
Yeah.
because not just because Russia's huge, but I mean, because Russia's huge, it's part of Asia also. And how like precedent setting would that be for part of Asia to be in the EU?
Yeah.
And then who knows, maybe Japan jumps in next. And then before you know it, like this is how you take steps toward a one world government with, post scarcity and all this stuff. Like you get enough people joining forces in a peaceful way rather than in a dominating way, like
Well,
Hitler's stuff
in a
like
sense,
that.
that's kind of what the U.S. it represents. I mean, originally the states were kind of in conflict with each other until the
But it's
U.S.
still
was
one
formed.
country. It's just
Uh-huh.
one country,
Well, no, but it's kind of representative of that bigger picture sense because each
Mhm.
state is technically kind of independent, but they all work together. It isn't like you don't see a state like going to war with another state, or there's antagonism, of course, but it's mostly
and
not
it
that big of a deal.
and it's stagnated.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's all these things that should be states, and they're kind of like, yeah, but 50 is a nice round number.
Well, no,
Like
that's true, but my point is that like joining forces tends to quell conflict.
yeah,
Because at that point, well, like I always say, the way to solve conflict is sex and trade. Like if you're a trade partner, you're basically not gonna bite the hand that feeds you. And of course, it's a circular thing. So each country or
yeah.
whoever entity, they're dependent on each other in one way or another.
Well, when all the world leaders are just old white men or whatever, like none of them want to have sex with each other. But if this lady becomes president of Russia, then maybe somebody will be like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
let's
I,
have
I
sex
think
with Russia.
I think having somebody who's kind of more an outsider and not part of the establishment would definitely benefit because certainly Russia has a lot of potential, um,
Mhm.
and it's being stifled by Putin's existence. Oh well, mic drop. Oh man,
That was a fast 10 minutes.
I know. Geez, that was really fast. Both of these, as usual, can go on to become full episodes. I think because there's a lot to unpack in both of them.
Oh, yeah,
Man,
definitely.
geez. God,
Well,
those are good. Well, hopefully you all enjoyed that. And yeah, well, we do this every week. So if this is your first time, stick around till the same day next week and you'll see another one, or go back in our back catalog. We have tons and tons of these and tons of episodes and
and
short
as
and
you can see,
long.
we go from world wars to world peace. So,
Yeah. Ooh, that's really good, actually. Yeah. Damn. Nice. I like that. All right, everybody. Well, take it easy and be good to each other out there.